Hi everyone, it's Matchbook Horse Racing preview time. I'm Tom Stanley, joined by Steve Jones and Micheál Deasy. As you can see, if you're watching, Micheál can't wait for the jumps, but we've got some cracking flat action for you this weekend in the form of the Group 1 Dewhurst Stakes, the Darley Dewhurst Stakes, the Cesarewitch as well, and it's a really good day's racing at Newmarket. And we're going to get stuck straight in with Newmarket and the Darley Dewhurst. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like our content. It's the best no-cost way of supporting our podcast, and it helps you as well. 3 o'clock then, the Dewhurst Stakes. As the prices go, 2.0 for the Lion in Winter, 4.0 for Shadow of Light, who won the Middle Park last time, as suggested by his trainer that he was an out-and-out sprinter. Here he is over 7, Ancient Truth, also for Charlie Appy, 5.0, Seagulls 11, Expanded, and Rocker Cashel, the double-figure prices in there. DC, welcome along, take it away.
Well, I found picking out one of the horses very hard, but I think I'm going to lay Lion in Winter in this. He is going to go off evens or shorter, and I would rather have the field running for me at evens than him. As I said, look, it's quite a deep race. I was very surprised that William Buick was on Shadow of Light. I had him down for Ancient Truth, and he was the main pick for the race, I think. But Charlie Appleby knows what's going on there. I just think it's a lot deeper than it looks. I know he won a York, and that's been flanked by Wimbledon Hawkeye, but I think the Godolphin horses might have put up more impressive performances, and we are getting all caught up with he's the favourite for the Derby next year and all this talk. I just wouldn't like to be backing him at evens, so I would rather lay him and have the other horses running for me. Even like looking down there, I think Expanded could be quite interesting if you look at the way he won his race. He's 34.0. I'm not saying he's going to win this, but the way he won his last race, he was up in the front rank, I think, about a furlong and a half out, got passed by 3 horses, and then all of a sudden woke up and got going again. He could be anything as well. He's very well bred. He's a Wooten Bastard. So I just think, looking at it, at the prices, I wouldn't back him at even, so I'm going to lay him and hope something else catches him out.
All right, well, I wasn't necessarily going to put him up. I was probably hovering over no bet, but given that you're laying him and Jonesy's going against him, I sort of, I maybe to create debate. I don't know. I'm putting him up as a bet. That's if I was going to back anything in the race at 2.0, the Lion in Winter, I would agree with you. One of the Godolphin horses has put up a better performance on the figures, and that was Shadow of Light winning the Middle Park last time, beating Whistle Jacket, rated 115, but Whistle Jacket I don't think ran to that, but it was still an excellent performance from Shadow of Light. I guess my issue with him is his trainer talked of him in light of Blue Point, who came back and won over 6 and 5 furlongs. They're not going to campaign as a Guineas horse. They didn't mention the possibility of going for the Dewhurst, and now here they are. Obviously, they know what they're doing, but in the back of Charlie Appy's mind, he's thinking of this horse as a sprinter, and I think 7 will be okay, but the Lion in Winter is an out-and-out 7 horse into staying further in the future, and that performance beating Wimbledon Hawkeye, who was brilliant in the Royal Lodge last time, is the standout bit of second best form in there. But I think he's going to be far more suited to this than Shadow of Light. So I'm going to go on.
Ancient Truth beat Wimbledon Hawkeye by 2 lengths further in the superlative.
Yeah, but I agreed. That was on the 13th of July, though. And the Wimbledon Hawkeye would be a much better horse now. He's developed a heck of a lot. I don't think there's any way that Acomb run, that the Acomb win of the Lion in Winter, all right, beating Wimbledon Hawkeye by only a length and 3/4, is on the figures, I think, a much better run, or I don't know, maybe a £5 better run than Ancient Truth's run 91 days ago, just because of where Wimbledon Hawkeye would be now and how much he's come forward. But I agree that maybe there's too much between them in the betting. I would just much rather side with the Lion in Winter off the back of that. I mean, it was a ridiculously strong Acomb. I think there was, the Waco kids come out of that subsequently and won. Didn't Mr. Chaplin go there? There's another one that's gone really close subsequently. So I think that's rock solid form. I think the Lion in Winter should be favourite, and if I had to do something, I'd be siding with him. Steve Jones.
Yeah, well, Shadow of Light certainly isn't bred to be a sprinter. Lope de Vega, nephew of Mile and 2 Group 1 winner in France. Loads of 7 furlongs, mile horses in the pedigree. He's not bred to be a sprinter. And for me, what he did in the Middle Park, I thought he was going to be even better going over 7. I'm amazed that you're saying that Charlie Appleby's ruled the Guineas out already.
I interviewed him straight after the race. I said, "Will he be a horse for a Guineas?"
Straight
trial?
after the race.
I'm just telling you what he said.
I bet you he ends up in the Guineas. I bet you he ends up in the Guineas. He'll win the Dewhurst, and he'll end up in the Guineas. Dewhurst horses
after the race, which is he's not for us. He's not a Guineas horse. He's more of in the Blue Point mould. We see him as an out-and-out sprinter, and he will be campaigned as a Commonwealth Cup horse. That's just what he said. Just telling you.
I bet you he ends up in the Guineas. I bet you ends up in the Guineas trial. What a Guineas trial. Bet you. He'll end up at Newbury in the Greenham. Shadow of Light, I think what he's done so far, I think it's been hugely impressive. His only defeat came at York in the Gimcrack when he raced at York. He needed to be over onto the far side, and he was drawn 9 of 10. And he raced, although the winner was 8 of 10, he raced this side of them, and that wasn't ideal. I thought that was still a decent enough effort against proper sprinters. They're going to be sprinters, the likes of Big Mojo and other horses in their symbol of strength to come out and won a Group 3 on the all-weather. So that was good form. But what he did in the Middle Park, he just blew Whistle Jacket away. Now, Whistle Jacket at that point, you'd have said, was probably the star Aidan O'Brien 2-year-old, because he'd won at Newmarket in the July Stakes, and then he'd gone over to Deauville and he'd won the Mornay. So to blow a horse away with that level of form in that hardened 2-year-old form, he'd run half a dozen times or something like that, Whistle Jacket. And Shadow of Light just blew him away on the soft ground. It's not going to be as soft in the Dewhurst, but going up in distance, I think that's probably a good thing. So I think this is Shadow of Light's been underrated the whole way through, in my opinion. So I think he's got a great chance. It is a hot race, but it's the Dewhurst. You want them all to be there. The likes of Seagulls 11, who's got a lot of collateral form, and the Lion in Winter, who was incredibly impressive in the Acom, and Ancient Truth, who's unbeaten. So, but Shadow of Light, I think, has been underappreciated, and he'll win this, and they'll all be handing out bits of paper with Guineas quotes on it.
Yeah, which was the same after Middle Park, 21.0 for the Middle Park, for the Guineas. And I was surprised when he said what he said, but there you go. Lion and Winter 2.0, Shadow Light 4.0.
The problem is anything Charlie Appleby said is like you write it on the wall, and until your wife comes along and rubs it off and says, "Don't keep writing Charlie Appleby quotes on the wall. I know you love him. I know I'm only second in your eyes to Charlie Appleby."
My wife comes up and wipes it off and writes bins out.
Yeah.
Dishwasher. Right, 220. No, sorry, we're going on, aren't we? We're going on to the Cez. So this is the 340. I won't read out prices. I just read them out when we get there. Go on, Steve. Come back in. Who do you like and why?
I like Premier Lean, who, it could be described as a little bit frustrating because he's been runner-up in his last 4 starts. He definitely got to the front too soon in the Cesarewitch trial. He's a horse that, for a horse that definitely stays 2 miles too, he travels so well, this horse. He is going to be so well suited by this race. And his young jockey, I think he's only 17, Jack Doughty, who's been up there in the Apprentice title race. He's not going to win it, but he's had a good season, and it was his first season, and he's getting better all the time. And he takes off £5, and in these big field handicaps, Apprentice is claiming both on the flat and over jumps. They've got such a good record. So I think that's a good thing. They always go a decent pace in this Cesarewitch. It starts in one county and ends in the other, as everyone knows. And it's a bit of a dash down the straight. They get racing a long way out. And I think he's just going to be cruising through. He's got blinkers on for the first time. And I just can't have him out the frame. I think if you want a better horse to be in the frame, he's going to be in the frame. But I think he could win it because I think it'll be easy for his jockey to get the timing right on Premier League.
Dees, who do you like, bud?
I'm going to be very boring and put up the Fav first, simply because if you look back at his list all when he didn't even come off the bridle, he's been out for a long time, but he won that so easily. Willie Mullins has done this a few times before, but with and you could be looking around for something at value, but something. If you have an each way bet, if this horse wins and you have an each way bet, you need something at 25 to 1 or more to get the same price as this horse winning. So I would have a saver on him. I think he looks absolutely laid out for this. And I know he's a skinny enough price. He might drift in the day, I'd say. Could see money coming for the Emmett Mullins horse even more, but there was a huge gamble on him the last time out at Galway. But I cannot back a horse that was beaten on the flat by Bustleton. So he gets the thumbs down for me. And the other one, I like Steve's horse as well. I'll be back in Steve's horse. I didn't want to put him up as well. So I'm going to go for Spirit Mixer. Oshie Murphy is on for Andrew Balding. He's after dropping down. He's down. He was down to 88 there before the last race. He after tumbling down the handicap this year, but he's a rock solid horse for this kind of race, this kind of distance. The ground will be perfect for him. Again, he's going to be, I think he's about 17.0 at the moment. He'll probably get bigger on the day. Loads of places. I would definitely have a tiny win bet on him and back him for 6 or 7 places because I can just see him as the kind of one that'll just stay on into this and finish maybe 4th or 5th or 6th and you get your money then.
All right, I am going to just stick up one and it's 6.5. I'm a little bit led by having had her in mind for this since the Newmarket win in August. So I'm not saying that I would have got this up and been like, oh, 9.0, 6.5. But when she won that day, I thought she could be really interesting if coming back for this. Since then, obviously, she's running a really hot handicap and been placed at the Curragh, running really well. She's here off a pound higher. She's drawn 20, but I sort of think that, that can keep you out of trouble. And the way she's a prominent racer, I think she'll come over from there. I think that's what she'll do. All right, she was patiently running a small runner race at Newmarket, but last time 30 runner race from a wide draw, she was given a handy ride. And one of the main things is the ground as well. It's just not going to be as bad as it can be at this time of year, and she definitely seems to want a sound surface. So at 9.0 win and place, I would. I'm going to have her on side. Go back to the 115. This is the Darley Stakes. Lead Artist is 4.0. Liberty Lane is 4.5. Almabeer is 7.5. And bigger prices thereafter. If you don't mind me coming in here because I'm pretty strong on Lead Artist as sort of main play of the day. 4.0 off the back of a really good run at Goodwood when he did it the hard way up on the front end and stamina came to the fore. I was concerned about him going back in trip last time and Kinross duly beat him pretty comfortably, but that's the standout bit of form coming in here. I appreciate Liberty Lane's been very good in 2 Newmarket handicaps, but there should be more between them at the prices. I feel pretty strongly about that. I think Lead Artist has got a bundle of talent. He was just outspeeded last time and back over 9 furlongs, but anything a mile and upwards, I definitely want him on side. So pretty strong on Lead Artist. Steve?
Yeah, I agree to a point. I don't agree that being up front is doing it the hard way. It's doing it the easy way.
No. He did it the hard way at Goodwood. On all the sectionals tell you he worked his arse off on the front end. He didn't do it the easy way.
Yeah.
He ran a proper pace. He didn't nick it. He did it. He did it the hard way if you're going to do it on the front end. that
He
day.
did it. He did it in the hard way. He was hassled up front. I know he was. I was just
You're
trying
such
to
a wind-up. You are.
make
You're
a point. And
right, go on.
he ran really well at Doncaster, considering he always looked like he wanted to go up in trip, not down in trip. And 7 furlongs at Doncaster was never going to be the right sort of race for him. I think 9 furlongs he's going to improve. And this is a horse that started off over a mile. That was the first time he'd ever run over 7 furlongs last time, and it was in a Group 2, the highest grade he'd ever run over. So I think the other thing to note is that the Gosdens weren't exactly having a great September, and the horses are running much better now, and it's an improving 3-year-old against some exposed-ish older horses, and I think Lead Artist is very solid.
Okay, that's a couple of shouts for Lead Artist in the 115. Nothing for Dees. We move on to the Zetland. I know you were keen on Skeleton, who doesn't run. The Zetland, just you, Steve. Take it away, please. 10.0.
Yeah, I thought that Green Storm had a bit of a chance at the price in small stakes. Any horse that wins by 10 lengths in a novice race is got to have some sort of chance. And although this is a huge step up in grade, his previous form reads very well. His place form, he started off finishing third behind Yarug and Seagulls 11, who runs in the Dewhurst. Then he was second to Seagulls 11, getting a bit closer. That's good form. And the horse that beat him last time, Amelok, is a really nice horse of Rafe Beckett's. So he was bumping into horses in a big way before he won last time by 10 lengths. And I just think he could easily get on the front end and just keep galloping. And the rest of them, to my mind, don't have form that is potentially as strong.
All right, just you on that one. That's the 150. 225 is the Autumn. You two agree here with Silver Peak. DC, you can take it away first of all.
Again, just don't like the Fav, and this is between Stanhope Gardens and Silver Peak for me. But I thought what Silver Peak did the last time at Haydock was really good. He was very green the first day, but he came out there, sat out the back and just blew him away in the final furlong, going away from them. Good to soft ground. I'd say it could be probably on the good to soft side of Newmarket, probably close to good, so that should be fine from again, it's the price thing, but I thought he looked really good the last time, and yeah, strong enough on him. I think he's probably my best bet of the day.
Okay, what do you want to add, Steve?
Yeah, I think Dees is spot on that Silver Peak is a horse going forward at a rate of knots. He improved up to a mile at Haydock and won pretty easily. And considering the runner-up won his next start by 8 lengths, that was a pretty good performance. And Charlie Appleby's dominated this race. He's won it for the last 4 years. So I'm amazed that you haven't gone with your favourite trainer. But Silver Peak's also got a very classy pedigree.
I haven't gone with him in the Dewhurst either. Go on.
I know he's going to be. I mean, do you need to go to Marriage Guidance or something? He's got a real classy pedigree, Silver Peak. He's a nephew of Persian King, who won the French Guineas a few years ago. I think he could easily be a classic contender, Silver Peak.
All right, that's 2 shouts for Silver Peak. I am giving just a couple of horses. I'll give you a last chance to today. One of them is Wolf of Badenoch. I think you put this horse up last time, Steve. Anyway, I was keen on him as well. I went the other way because there were a couple I wanted to back. He did the Champagne. It just didn't develop to suit him. But he was thrown in pretty deep at Goodwood on his second start. I just think he's got loads of ability, and at 7.0, he's too tempting. Yeah. If I'd say any more, Steve's going to start taking the piss out of me because of what I spoke to Hugo Palmer about. But I just think he's got bags of talent, and 7.0, I'll back him win and place Wolf of Badenoch. 130 is the Rockingham at York. 3 different horses going up. Steve, you can kick us off with the Goss 500 winner Bolognese.
Yeah, yeah. When you say it like that, I was wondering why he was called that, and I'm so naive, aren't I? Because I have heard that before, Bolognese. But he had some good form in novice races. He was chasing home the likes of Benevento on his debut at Yarmouth in May. He was a decent horse. He was also runner-up to Asturias, who's been one of the top sprinting juvenile, won the Flying Childers. And then it all came together in a valuable sales race at the Curragh last time. I was 7 lengths. So he's another horse that was bumping into horse. I mean, he bumped into Asturias at Bath. You don't expect to come across a horse like that at Bath. What he did at the Curragh last time in that valuable sales race, I don't think it was the deepest of races, but he was just so impressive. I just think it's obvious that he wins.
Dees?
I've gone for something at a bigger price. I've gone for Dark Cloud Rising, David O'Mara's horse. He finished third the last day at Haylock, actually, in the race after Silver Peak, beaten by Defence Minister and Arabian Angel. So Arabian Angel was on a 1 following the next time out, and Defence Minister was thrown into the middle park after it. So could have been a better race than it appeared on paper. He's he's about 17.0. There's 9 runners in this at the moment. There could be, if there's only one more comes out, then you got your dead 8. Nice win place price. I'm happy enough to stick with him.
All right, and another horse I'm taking a chance on because I'm such a forgiving sort is Shadow Army at 6.0. He's been tried in Group 1 company this year. He is incredibly highly regarded off the back of which the trainer said after his first win here, and then he was picked up by Wathnan, pretty shrewd operators which would have looked at everything in detail, and then he's just gone way off the boil. They've tried 3 different types of headgear. This is the 3rd different type of headgear, but back into this sort of grade at 6.0, he could just win this back at the scene of his success. That's massive, I think. And I'm like, you wouldn't go mad, but I wouldn't let him go on back to 6.0 Shadow Army. 205 is a 10 furlong handicap, nice and open as well. A few horses that came out of the Cambridgeshire last time. One of those is Beneto's Steve, who ran well.
Yes, he did run very well. Maybe not quite as well as the 4th place suggests, because it was a fair advantage to be on the far side in the Cambridgeshire, and it didn't make it a 31 runner race really, but it was still a very good effort on the back of finishing ahead second at Ayr over 1 mile and 2. And he's not had many chances over 1 mile and 2, considering that when you go way back to when he was trained in France, he was runner-up in a listed race at Saint-Cloud over more than 1 mile and 2, 1 mile and 2.5. So he definitely stays it. The ground is no problem whatsoever. And I think he's been one of those horses that David O'Mara does very well with these French imports. And he's always looked like he had a nice pot in him. Although he won at Windsor earlier in the season, I think he's got more to offer. And this sort of race is just for him, I think, Benetton.
Okay, that's Beneteau for you. I'll chuck in a few. One of those, only because of the Cambridgeshire last time, Dual Identity. Obviously ran really well behind Stable Companion here a couple of starts ago, then was the wrong side and had no chance last time. I think that's been sort of overreacted to. Now he's back at a course where he ran really well last time. 13.0. The other one I want on side is more of an insurance bet because he was my horse to follow this year, Valvano. He then duly lined up really early on in the season and bumped into a Guineas winner. Like, who knew? But obviously hasn't been gone to plan since then. He was gelded. It was a bit disappointing in a novice last time, but into a handicap in a race that 3-year-olds have got a good winning record in, 9.0. As I say, it's a bit of an insurance bet because I wouldn't want him to win, given he was my horse to follow this year, but without me backing him. So 9.0 Valvano. Dees.
I'm going for Sisyphean. He landed a huge gamble in York in July. He was backed in from, I can't remember what price he opened at, but he went off 9-4 and won by 5 lengths. Absolutely pissed up and blew the handicap mark to pieces. Finished fourth the last time. They stepped him up and tripped the last time at Goodwood, and he finished fourth, beaten by a length. But he went off out in front that day, got no cover, and just got ran down. I think that 1 mile 2 around York. I think Soft Ground might help him. He's a very big horse. He's actually a huge horse. He looks like a jumps horse. So he's about 9.0 at the moment. I'll take a chance to him win place back at York. Hopefully with some better tactics.
Okay, and we move on to the sprint. Nothing for me because I know it's a nice big open race, but I thought the draw at the Ebor meeting made such an impact. I think you want to be far side. I wanted to back Summergand and Orazio, but there's just not enough pace on over that side for I think them to get involved. So I might take a view at sort of starting prices and see if one of those is a sort of silly price. But yeah, too difficult given the draw unknown. Steve?
Never worry about the draw. Yeah, okay, it was favoured the far side at the Ebor meeting. What was that, 2 months ago nearly, when it's rained heavily and there's no pace on the far side. So I wouldn't get wrapped up about the draw, but Quest for Fun, I think, has got a very interesting profile. Had no chance last time, dropped to 6 furlongs for the first time this season. In fact, the first time since way back in October of 2022, so nearly 2 years. And showed good speed there, but was just on the wrong side at Ripon, was one of 2 that raced on the far side, and they had no chance. And it's interesting that Quest for Fun was very well back that day into favouritism, having run over 7 furlongs and ran well over 7 furlongs this season. But there's no doubt on a surface that he likes, he's really testing at York, and he loves soft ground. He's got the speed for it over 6 furlongs on soft ground, no doubt. And also, he's got a real good record at York. The only time he hasn't run well in 7 visits to York was one on fast ground. And apart from that, he won once, was runner-up twice in big field handicaps, and was 4th in another big field handicap, all over 7. So I think he's very interesting. Amy Waugh, who rides him, is a very good lightweight apprentice. She used to ride in hunter chases. You can't believe it looking at her because she's tiny and can do light weights, and she's got smallest legs in racing, I think. But she's a very good jockey, and Jim Goldie uses her, and he wouldn't use anyone who wasn't up to the grade.
And Dees.
I picked out Quest for Fun as well.
Oh, yeah, very good.
I did.
In a 20-odd runner race, you've both gone for a 21.0 shot. Beautiful.
I couldn't believe it when Steve had him in the sheet before me. I have to say, but I had him picked out. Look, again as well. At the end of last season, he ran his 2 best races last season were on soft ground at the end of the season, and he won off the same mark on heavy ground in Catterick, carrying 10 stone. In his last run of the season, and the 21st of October. So this is a good time of year for him, and he's a very big price. So there you go.
All right, moving on to a Matchbook Zero. Oh no, any other bets first of all, because you guys have got some. Oh, Steve, you got a few. Jumping, go on.
Yeah, I've got a couple jumping. Let's see which ones first. In the novice chase, Nigel Twiston-Davies, like the old days, when Nigel Twiston-Davies, who had this gallop that just went straight up the side of the hill, and all his horses were incredibly fit in September and October, and then they used to go off the board. Then he put a diagonal gallop in. But this season, his horses have been in absolutely sensational form, and he runs Cuthbert Dibble in the novice chase 245 at Chepstow. I think that's got a really good chance. He was a good staying hurdler last year. He was placed in the per temps, and he was very progressive, and he's going to do even better over fences. I think he could be really good. Cuthbert Dibble for Trumpton fans. So Trumpton or Camberwick Green, one of them. Anyway, in the big race, the Silver Trophy at Chepstow, Lucky Zebo, Henry de Bromhead. I can't believe the price of this horse, considering what he's done over hurdles around this distance, been very progressive. 2 more disappointing runs over fences, but back over hurdles, I think he's got a great chance. So Lucky Zebo in the 320 at Chepstow.
Couple of jump shouts there. Dees, where are you looking?
Just one kind of small stakes one. Jetwal in the 4 o'clock in Chepstow in the handicap chase. He's a 9-year-old now. He usually starts the season well. Some of his best runs usually kind of his first 2 or 3 runs of the season. He has won a maiden hurdle in soft ground at Chepstow previously. I reckon he's going to be probably about 8 or 9.0, and I'll have a little win place betting him.
All right, actually, Trois. Moving to Matchbook Zero long shots. An hour before each race, it goes live, and you're most likely to get best odds because of the nature of Matchbook Zero. There's zero margin, zero commission. Further enhances your chance of best odds with the nature of an exchange anyway, generally superior price-wise to a sports book. Mine is Dual Identity in the 205 at York. Steve?
Quest for Fun, which is in the 240 at York.
And Dees.
Mine is Dark Cloud Rising in the 130 at York.
Different races, nailing it. DC lays.
Yeah, they lay the line in winter in the Dewhurst.
Casey's already made. Best bets. Lead artist for me at 3.75 in the 115 at Newmarket. Steve?
Bolognese in the, I was going to say Bolognese until you said it. Bolognese in the 130 at York.
And Dees.
Silver Peak in the 225 Newmarket.
Great job, Steve. Thank you. DC, thank you very much. We'll be back again for you next week. I really hope you have a successful punting weekend between Newmarket, York and elsewhere. Bye-bye.